Palabra, which isn't quite the language that, because there is no language. It was an idea, like something like when words were handed out was the original title. And what I meant by when things were allocated meaning, and I didn't quite have a word for that, so palabra seemed to suit it best. I wanted to talk about the act of remembering. When we recall, when we bring things back, it seems like such an easy process, but we have to dig through things. And we have a lot of already interpretations and translations that lead us astray, and our Western mind, which leads us astray. So early on as an artist, I wanted to go back to the icons and symbols, which is why I love Irena's work so much, because actually she captured the act of remembering and the act of embodying that knowledge. I thought that was so magnificent to be able to show my students when I talk about her work, the meaning of taking that on in our bodies and holding it, because we have to make room and replace all of the misinformation that we're carrying around, and it's traumatic. To lose your language is traumatic. And you're stunned into silence. And as you learn other languages, it replaces meaning. So the icons and symbols that I have found on the walls of Mexico, on the pottery, every place on rocks sometimes, I became aware that the earth itself, makes meaning. It leaves clues. You look at a rock sometimes and there's a symbol drawn on it by the making of the rock itself, not because somebody carved it. It's amazing what you can find. And so I wanted to think about the philosophy of our people, which is the language, the philosophy, the thinking, the ideas. I wanted to know what mattered and how it was passed on. So the tsitsime, which are those are what's entering the sky, and the two figures that are holding a basket. They are kind of amorphous figures because every time we try to look at the spirit as human beings, we tend to be human centric. And so we try to make in our brains, our little brains try to acknowledge like what it is, right? So we make it into shapes that sometimes it's not. So the hardest thing is to just hold on to what you're seeing and not try to make it or reform it, but to just hold it. And that's what I meant by when meaning was allocated. But I also wanted to speak to the Sitsime, those female ancestors, those entities that come to Earth during times of chaos that were translated meant that they came to join the chaos and somehow eat us up. But I also wanted to remember then when we as human beings get eaten up, that idea then is also a very sacred idea of being consumed, by energy and then having to find your way back. And in the finding your way back is how you realize where you've been. And it's a very powerful tool that can assist others, to be lost and regain their consciousness and find themselves back and make sense of the whole process, the whole journey. So I thought if they do come into the atmosphere and we can see them during times of great fear, during times of chaos and confusion, then they can teach us, they can tell us, and that if we can again sustain through our Western fears, then we can gain that knowledge or regain the knowledge. So, like Irena's work, we're talking about water, that holds memory. We're talking about the actions of the sky, the cyclical actions of wind. All of those, all of nature has been discussed in the pre-Columbian world and continues to be held in that world. And I sometimes see it that what our task is to be able to become aware consciously, to remember, to be able to hold the knowledge and not bat it away with our Western interpretations. So that's this piece of work. The antennas, the flowers, the attempted connections, and then also understanding that we are in a very dark period. Again, here we are, and this is a dark period in its own. But we have been, very adept at surviving, and now we have to remember how we did that by, becoming consciente, joining in consciousness, having one prayer, holding that thought, protecting one another, and having the audacity, to stand out and speak up. So that's it. Thank you.